Hello there and welcome to my gameplay tutorial series for Necesse. In this video series I am going to create a world together with you and explore the game's features, explain them in the meantime, so by the end of this little series you will be able to just do whatever you want in your own world and have fun with this wonderful little gem of a game. It has been also recently updated visually and is now looking quite gorgeous. So let's get started. We're creating a new world to play in. I'm going to call this the tutorial world. Quite boring, but what it is, it is. And now we get to select your difficulty. So you can make it this as easy or hard to yourself as you want to. We're going to go with a classic experience. In the more world settings, you can decide what kind of death penalty you want to suffer. If you don't want to suffer any death penalty, or if you want to stay dead permanently, it's all up to you. Over here, raids, how often your place is going to be attacked. If you don't like that, you can turn it off here. Food consumption on or off, also to your own liking. And the spawn seed is tutorial, so if you want to go on in with the same map, that's the way to do it. We can also define how long day or night time should be, and you can even do some custom spawning on your island. What's really important is I would recommend for your first rodeo to keep the guide house activated as it is pretty useful. Alright, we got everything set up, and let's create that world. So I'm not going to run my normal character here, so we're going to create a new character. Just randomize it until you like what you see, or you can just go over it manually. I'm not a person who has that patience. I know, but you know, it is okay for the sake of the tutorial. I don't care how my character looks like, in all honesty. Now we select that, and here we are. WASD to get moving. The slight lagging is somehow normal when you load a map, and we're going to skip that tutorial. I'm the tutorial, thank you. Down here you see your first items and your hotbar. By using the mouse wheel you can scroll through that, or the little numbers there can also be activated. You have an axe and you have a sword. If you just hold down the left mouse button, you see that you swing these items. Basic interaction, and as you see the axe is way slower than the sword. So move on over to a tree of your own liking and chop it down. Do this to a few trees. Notice that you collect different types of logs and different types of saplings. If you ever played Minecraft, this will be very familiar to you. The basic notion here is whatever plant you chop down, you get the stuff to replant it somewhere else. So farming is a very basic thing, doable in every aspect of the game, and just like that we are farming up some wood, and those saplings, you see them down there in the hotbar, can then be used. So I'll show you how. I just scroll over it, and as you see now I have these now on my cursor, and now I can place them down so we can replenish what wood we have chopped, or you also can just use the saplings as crafting material or use them as fuel later on. It's up to you. It's a sandbox game after all, so what you do with your environment or don't do is up to you. So we've gathered some wood and we've planted those trees. This is the starter house I've been talking about. There's also some dude living here. Right now he's up there. You see the mini-map up there, Glenn the Elder. This guy is your basic quest giver. First thing we want to do is we want to get on over to this place. As you see, opening is when we right click it, we're opening the spruce display, and there's a couple of dashers in there. You have a vast amount of equipment slots, and the trinket ability slot here, well, you can also just right click it and you see it goes to the right, to the proper spot. What you have with this is you can just hold down spacebar, you see the stamina percentage, and you can sprint for a while. Priceless. Really good stuff. So up here we see our HP and our hunger, basic things. If it goes 0 we die, if this goes 0 we start suffering from damage. Glenn the Elder is going to give us a quest. We have to place down a settlement flag. So in Necesse, you're playing an adventurer, but you're also able to build an entire city with all the actions of automation that you want there. So when we enter the building here, we have a bed. We have already plundered the display here. We could set something else in there, but whatever. Right clicking here, that's the workstation where we can craft things, but we are actually after the storage box. So in here you find a settlement flag. Shift left clicking transports things directly into your inventory and vice versa. So if we want to, we can also shift click the oak logs to put them in there. The other items in the box, namely the maps, I'll be explaining later. For now, we're just picking up that bread for when we get hungry. Mind you, food has a spoiler time, so in 8 hours this bread is gone, so use it while it's still good. Now, the placement of the settlement flag is not really a big quest or anything like that. You have it either in your hotbar, as we have placed down the saplings before, but I want to show you something else that you can do. You can just press E for opening up your inventory here like that, and then you can place it down as well. Mind you that the facing of an item is dependent on the facing of your character. So when your character faces down, the item faces down, and so on and so forth. The settlement flag doesn't have any depiction there. This is the tutorial town. Yeah, tutorialton, why not? That's even better. So, the settlement flag, you can right click it, and this is where you can configure how your settlement will work. Right now, none of our business. The only persons living, or the only people living here are you and Glenn the Elder, or however he's named on your end. So you see the exclamation mark, and we get a new quest. So he wants us to fetch some goblin rings. At this point, he can also give you a different quest for a different monster drop. Often you get vampire stuff, whatever. The important notion is whatever you need, you'll find it down here in that ladder. But I want to go over a couple of things before we go downstairs first. So, first up in the hotbar, you have a crafting guide. This is an amazing item. You right-click it, and then you put something inside, and then the game shows you what you can craft out of it. This is really a priceless and massive helping tool on whatever you have on your mind. So, bread can be upgraded into other items, and it really pays off to give this thing a visit every now and then. What we're after now, at the very first thing, is we are going to be right clicking here the workstation so we can craft at it, and we have now picked up enough logs to make ourselves a wood pickaxe. Without a pickaxe, we are unable to gather stone. That's just what it is. We are also going to make ourselves a shovel, because that is also a very useful tool. An axe and a sword we already have, and I'll be building myself a wooden bow. You could also go for a spear or a boomerang, whatever you'd like. I personally will go for the bow out of several reasons that I'm going to mention later. We're also going to build ourselves a boat. The boat is a mount that you can just flat out equip there. Just like that. As you see, the screen has changed because the amount of material in our possession has gone down. We just need to chop down some more trees and then we can craft some more. But we also can do other things now. For one, we could slaughter a sheep, but I highly recommend you to not do so. There's also a hunter around there, but I want to do NPC interactions on another occasion, okay? So we're going to go to that stone and use that pickaxe now to chop down some stone. Now we have new options because we don't have wood only, and it's getting dark. So once it's getting dark, I highly recommend you to go out of the area there and step over to the bed, right click it, and use it to sleep through the night. Also, don't miss to set this up as your spawning point. This is not only important for when you die, but there are also recall scrolls that allow you to teleport back to your spawn point, so you better set one. Now, we're waiting until 6:30 when the night is officially over. During the night, monsters will spawn. Of course, you can use this as a combat practice, but since we're doing a beginner's tutorial, we're not so keen about that. So, what's really interesting about having wood and stone is the fact that we are able now to craft ourselves arrows. I'm going to do that, so you can left click that, so we have arrows now. You can also shift left click to do this as often as you can. Really useful when you want to repeat a job very often. Alright, so we're getting closer to been at a good spot of going downstairs, but not quite yet. Oopsie. Don't try to chop trees with a pickaxe. It's way slower than it should be. So we're going to chop ourselves some more logs, because you can really use a lot of wood early on. And many things you can find when you go downstairs, but wood is not one of them. You will be out of that, and when you need it, it would be quite annoying too. Not have that. All right. So one other thing that we're going to craft is a ladder. So a ladder can be used on many occasions to get downstairs. So you can basically set up a dungeon entrance wherever you want to. I like to have one on my in my possessions, as this is really more useful than it sounds in the first place. Alright, the last thing that we require before we are ready to go down are torches. So torches are absolutely mandatory for braving the depths. We got now everything we require, so let's take our first stroll downstairs. The hotkey for placing down torches is R. It's really something you will be using a lot. Also, don't miss out on putting some bread on your hotbar. Okay, downstairs there will be baddies. Be ready for that. So right click on the ladder and just press R in your environments to set up some light. There we go. Where there's light, no more monsters can spawn. We ready our sword? Just chop down those goblins. Wonderful. As you see there, they drop coins, and we already found the goblin ring for the quest. Not bad, not bad. So I'm going to illuminate the area here, not touching anything yet. And at some point, oh, there's one of those buggers. Oh, this one is a zombie archer. Best approached with a sword and just be taken down. So, speaking about being taken down, I took damage. It's a good spot to eat some bread. When you are not eating something, you are slowly going to regenerate up at the expense of hunger. It's basically the Minecraft mechanic. So, feel free to refill your bars there. Okay. So, since there's no more monsters around us, we can now safely explore the environments. There's boxes and crates like these. You just pick up whatever you got and whack at them. So there we go. Lots of good stuff there. I also noticed that I have my bow at a very unfavorable spot. I want that right next to the sword. Just habits. Grow some habits for yourself, how you feel well in distributing your gear so you're quickly on battle. As you see there, there's a ton of things that we can't smash open. So going to the bow now. That's one method that you can use. The game is very open when it comes down to how you want to fight. The advantage of bows is that you can make ammo very easily out of stones and wood. There's a lot of different ammunitions available, and when you get to better bows, you also deal a lot more damage. Early on, well, it's up to you how you want to play. So we smashed those containers, and we found ourselves potions, ninja stars. You could use them as well, but I would recommend you to use these on more difficult fights, and different types of arrows. At this point, I just want to mention the game counts your arrows in the way that I just moved the cursor from here to there. So if you want to use these arrows first, you put them there, and this way you can order the ammunitions of yours. So we would be now firing stone arrows until they are depleted, then fire arrows, then iron arrows. This way you can reserve your more precious and rare ammunitions. Okay, so that stuff in the wall, you surely already noticed it, is ore. This is copper ore. So copper ore is one of the first things that we will find. Usually you will be finding way more copper than iron. Iron is also to be found in the starting area, and it is the stuff that you're mostly after. But in Necesse, there is no such thing as a unwanted ore. This stuff can be converted into something better, even when you're way past copper gear. So don't you worry and collect it all. It is absolutely worth it, I promise, without spoiling too much there. So this little room here has a trap. You see that little pressure plate? And by the way, to get this white cornery stuff, press Control for smart mining. When this is off, your dude will mine wherever your cursor is at. If you press Control for smart mining, you will be exactly seeing which square is being worked on. I can't play this game without. Anyways, I'm digressing. So here I'm taking some time to dig around the thing. The wooden pickaxe, by the way, is a horribly slow tool, and we will replace it as quick as we can. But for now, we need to do this. So, when you would be stepping on that pressure plate, the trap here in the wall would spring and would hurt us. So what we're doing first, though, is we need to get rid of the zombie archer, so... Well, he got rid of himself by stepping on the pressure plate. These traps not only work against you, but also against the enemy. So we're just readying our pickaxe now, and with the smart mining, you can easily take it out. You can also just mine this wall here to get that flame trap for yourself. You can do that, whatever you want. The red stuff there is the trap connection wire. Exploring that on another occasion. Alright, so right-click the chest to get your loot. These rooms are all over the place and they can contain various cool items, like this heavy hammer, which will definitely replace my sword, so I'm going to put this into the trash can. So, shift left clicking all the items here, 7 iron bars, not bad, but we need 10 to really do something. Enchanting scrolls to enchant your gear, and a mysterious portal. These are needed later. So that hammer we found now is now a melee and a ranged weapon at once. I love these. It's also infinite, so getting one of these is really, really nice early on. Necesse has tons of overpowered weapons, so getting one of these early is really cool, but by all means, it is not a must-have, alright? Don't you worry if you don't. So that fella with the gold nugget there, well, until you have heavy ammunitions, they're pretty hard to take down. Okay, we're taking down the pressure plate again, so the room doesn't hurt us. We are finding now a first trinket, but it is a two-sided thing. It increases crit chance, but it decreases attack speed. This is an unlucky drop that we're just going to ignore for the meantime. Health regen potions. Good stuff. Put that into the hotbar directly. Iron bar and iron bombs. Wonderful. That's what I've been waiting for. Bombs are pretty much loot only in the early game. I don't know if you can craft them by now, but they are really, really damn good. So, with a bomb, you can do all manner of cool things. So, see that little guy? You're taking the bomb and toss it there. Don't get close, it'll kill you. But, yeah, here we go. The other method that you can take with these stone cavelings is also to just, yeah, take this path of action. It is way slower, though, than just using a bomb. But taking these fellas down is massively worth it, as the gold ore is really, really a good price, as gold is a very, very powerful material in this game. You also can mine with these bombs. As you see, we've broken down a couple of walls here. In this chest, we find cabbage seeds and cabbage. This is another thing. These chests provide you the seeds for farming. Basically, you unlock farming down here in the dungeons. You will be not finding enough materials to work with otherwise. Okay, so we're going back to the bomb tactic. I mean, obviously, you can't take this as many different ways as you want to. But I personally like the way of bursting them down a bit like that and then just finishing them off. There we go. So we got ourselves a really nice stockpile of ores. So at this point, well, it's up to you how much you want to farm or explore down here. You sometimes find not only chests and treasures down here, but also even workbenches. This is pretty cool as it allows you to for example, find an alchemy table way ahead of time, or an anvil without needing to spend the iron to craft it. Pretty good stuff. You also have an adventure journal, which will guide you through the possible drops of the enemies. And you can also see how many things you've already encountered. That's that. So, we're going to head upstairs to get working. So it is night, so we are shamelessly waking up Glenn the Elder to sleep in this bed. Making your own bed would require wool, and a sustainable income of wool is only possible once you have a pair of scissors, which requires you to have iron. So there goes that. But we will not slaughter any sheep way ahead of their time. That is just not how I like to work. So back to the workstation we go, and the very first things we do. We have some iron bars, but I'll pretend we would not have. Let's pretend we need to make these ourselves first. We need a forge, which requires stone. Feel free to make 2 of these, you will not regret it. Put them down wherever you want to, but I will put them down where I plan to do a new building. So we're going to put it down there, because I think my own house will be living right there. So as you see there, the facings, if I look this way, the forge is placed backwards. If I'm looking this way, it's placed at the front. It's a little bit weird in the first place, but you'll get used to it. So, first up, we need to chop ourselves some more timber, as this is pretty much the only fuel that we have available early on to smelt down stuff. There we go. Just a few more, and it'll never be that slow again, promise. So, right-clicking a stack splits it in half. So, we're going to right-click the oak log stack, and get that in there. So gold ore goes in there, and the copper ore I collected goes in there. So there is one caveat behind these ores. I'll show you in a hot second. There you see, 4-to-1 conversion. So your ores are way less powerful than you'd wish for. Traveling merchant has arrived. Traveling merchants are really hot things to find, as we always want a few things from them. First up, a rope. I always buy at least one, because it allows us to rope animals, which is pretty good. The other items they got, very desirable if you have the coin, a potion pouch. There's a ton of potions in this game, and then some more. The potion pouch automatically collects them for you and brings in some much needed order into the chaos, but we are currently still too poor for that. Well, I'm going to go and craft myself a fresh storage box, because all of the items and materials we are gathering are now getting cluttery, aren't they? So I'm placing that down in the vicinity of my forges. Well, let's just place it down right next to them. Alright, there we go. So the storage box should always have this check mark on for adding the inventory to the settlement storage. This way, later, your folks working in the city can work with these. So I'm shift left clicking these now, these materials that I don't want to have in my inventory anymore, and place them down there. Namely though, only the things that I want to build stuff out of. Here, stone and wood and whatnot. We really need more wood, but more about that in a second. So in here, we now got the copper bars, bam, and the gold bars, bam. And we are also going to toss down some iron ore in there. And as you can see now, the forge automatically chooses what stuff to use there. Alright, so we're going to extract the work table out of that house down there, just to showcase how it works and to show you another thing. So I'm readying up the axe and left click the thingy here, workstation in my position. Alright, and we're going to place down that workstation here. And now when I right click it, it has this check mark on use nearby inventories. As you see there, it's, oh, that's a nice feature, that's new. Inside this white square, stuff in boxes will now be used as if it was in my inventory. Wonderful stuff. So one of the first things you want to have in all ways is an iron anvil. Like I said, sometimes you can find these. You could also explore, pressing M here for the map, you could also explore the environment. The most villages around you do have one to loot, but more about that in the upcoming episode. So, forge and anvil. We are placing down that anvil, and when we right click it, we can now create new things. One of the very first things I highly recommend you to craft from your first iron is a pickaxe and, well, pretty much any tool you can afford after that. The problem about iron is that it is pretty rare early on, and you will loot more of it rather than you will mine it in many, many occasions. But there's a ton of copper down there. I personally would not recommend you to waste too much time with copper tools though, as they will get replaced extremely quick by either iron or gold. Ironically enough, gold is a pretty good material for tools in this game. It doesn't make any rational sense, but gold is faster than iron. But check this out. This is our iron pickaxe now. This is a this is a massive difference between what we had before and what we got now. So from this point on, one of the things that you want to do is to gather, of course, as many metals as possible. You have, when you press M here again, you can check out the map. This area here is connected directly to your map tile. Once it is completely explored, nothing new will spawn there except for new monsters in the darkness. Monsters in the darkness seem to be infinite to me. I haven't found any limits of these. Speaking about infinite things, durability is also pretty much infinite. Your tools never wear down. It's just a upfront investment. You can also pick up really everything in the dungeon. These columns, you could pick them up. These walls, you could pick them up. Heck, even the floors, you pick up your shovel and then you just go for it, and you can pick up the floors. So in this game, you really have a very, very high freedom of looting things. And I love it. I mean, seriously, this is one of the really, really cool parts about this game. So, where to next? This is pretty much the end of the episode, by the way. I will go between this and the next episode and mine myself a healthy supply of iron and copper. One of your goals should be early on to get yourself a suit of tools out of preferable materials, and then a suit of armor. You can't craft armor out of these metals. The more precious the metal, the more beneficial the armor. Don't think that you need to go for a gold armor. Heck, even a copper armor is a really, really good thing to protect yourself. Whatever you go for, you need armor though. This game won't work without armor. You will also find in the dungeons below here, at some point, enemies called vampires. These are pretty dangerous fellas, but they also have a really, really nice loot in their coffins. So, in the next episode, we're going to talk about exploration. And I am also going to introduce what you can do with other parts of the game, farming and agriculture and all those things. So stay tuned. I hope it helps you out. I really can't recommend Necesse enough. It's a true gem of a game, getting better and better and better since years, and I really love the new visual overhaul update. It's damn, this game's looking so good now, don't you agree? Anyways, I'm digressing. Thanks for being around. Drop me your comments down below, leave me a thumbs up, and consider subscribing. I also put some links in the description box, namely to the playlist of this tutorial series and other nifty things that might be of your interest. If you feel like my work is worth supporting with a couple of dollars on your side, I'd be a very, very grateful man. So feel free to do so. The links on how to do so are found below there as well, with a big, big thanks to all of you out of the community who are helping out, and a big thanks nevertheless as well to all of you folks watching these videos. It really means a terrible lot to me, because the videos would be worthless without people watching them, right? So, see you all in the next episode, and have a good time until then. Bye-bye.